Hey guys, Mr. Farmer here. Today we're doing Chapter 10, Viewing Commands. Today's all about different views, zooming and panning and scrolling and that sort of thing. We've got a lot of objectives today, going to run through them really quick. Number one, understand the relationship between the drawing objects and the display of those objects. Be able to use all of the zoom options. Be able to pan the display around your screen. Be able to save and restore different views. Know how to use view res to change the display resolution, be able to use the nav wheel to pan and zoom, be able to turn on and off the UCS icon, and be able to create, save, and restore model space viewports. Lots to do today. So here we go. Let's start with this. So as we mentioned in a previous video, what you need to be doing is drawing these things to real life scale. So for example, if I'm going to draw a door, I'm actually going to draw the door to its actual dimensions. Maybe that's 7 feet, 8 feet tall. Whatever it is, I'm going to draw it 1-to-1 dimensions, right? We're going to do that always. So when you zoom, well, let me back up a minute. That means that your drawing, the limits on your drawing, they could be a very small area or a very vast area. It could be several hundred feet or even miles. Like you could draw several miles on your screen, believe it or not. Or you could draw in something like millimeters. So it can be very, very big, very, very small. So when we zoom and when we pan, just a quick note, that does not change the size of the objects that you've drawn. They're still 1-to-1. So that the size of that door does not change just because I zoom in or zoom out or move it around the screen or anything like that. That does not change the size of the door. It's still the same size, right? The only thing that changes is the display. Okay, so let's talk about zoom and pan. To zoom in, of course, you know this, means to magnify or demagnify, right? If I want to zoom in on this little window here, I can zoom in and it appears to get bigger, or I can zoom out. To pan, P-A-N, that means to move the screen around without necessarily zooming in or out. Okay, so let's dig into each one of those. My preferred method for zooming is just to use the scroll wheel on the middle of your mouse. You can scroll it up and that zooms in. You can scroll it down and that zooms out. Now where does it zoom in to? That depends on where your cursor is. So wherever I place my cursor, that's where the zoom is going to center on. So let's say, how about this little potty right here? If I put my cursor here and I zoom in, it's going to zoom in on that potty. Right? If I zoom out, it zooms out there. If I zoom in over here on the door, or the bathtub, I guess, it zooms in on the bathtub. So your zoom is centered about where your cursor is. All right, likewise, on the panning, my preferred method to pan is just to, oh my goodness, is to hold down that middle mouse button. If you hold that down and move your icon around, it will pan the screen. You see that little handle, or that it'll grab the screen. And you may have noticed you can pan and zoom simultaneously. They're not independent. I can zoom, I can pan, or I can pan zoom. Ooh, very cool. A couple of shortcuts. Zoom. If you want to see all of the options for zoom, you can type zoom down here in the command bar. There's all these different types. You got zoom all, zoom center, dynamic, extents, previous scale, window, object. The ones you're probably going to use most often are zoom all. So let's say we have zoomed in on this doorknob and we don't know how to get back to our original drawing. I can zoom and then hit A for all, and it'll take me back to all. It shows all of the objects. And the definition for that is zoom all displays all of the objects in the drawing and all of the limits. Okay, another zoom command that you might use a lot is zoom window. This is one I like to use all the time. So I'll type zoom, and then you can type window or just W if you want to use the shortcut. And you can draw a window around something that you want to zoom in on. So let's say I want to zoom in on this little faucet. I can draw that window, and it zooms in. And if I want to go back to where I was, I can zoom all or just A, and I'm back to the original size, which is set by the limits. Okay. So there's zoom all, there's zoom window, there is also zoom extents. Right? And the definition for that is it results in the largest possible display of all of the objects disregarding the limits. So whereas all takes the limits into consideration, zoom extents just shows the objects that have been drawn. There's also zoom object, so I can go zoom and then O for object, and I can select an object to zoom in on, right? And it will fill the screen with that particular object. There's also scale. This option allows you to enter a scale factor for the desired display. So if you want to scale it up by 2 or scale it down by 2, you can do that. Scale, let's say, I don't know, 2, right? So it zooms out by a factor of 2. Very good. Zoom out makes the current display smaller by a factor of 0.5. So zoom is a transparent command. What does that mean? What is transparent? Transparent command means that it can be invoked while another command is in operation. For example, you can have the line command active and then still use something like undo or zoom. So let's say I've got the circle command here. I'm going to draw a circle. So I've got this circle tool in my hand. Well, I can still zoom, right? And I can still pan even though I've got that tool open. And I can also type type Z and use those same commands, okay? Let's see. Also, the default option for zoom is something called real time. It's not super important for you to know what that means. It's just the default version. That can be changed if you want it to, right? You can, well, let me just show you what that looks like. RT, real time zoom, right? If I do that, now if I click, I'm clicking the left mouse button and going up and down, that zooms in and out. That's real-time zoom. While we're on the subject of zoom, shortcut Z, and pan, shortcut P, there's also this little bar over here on the right side of your screen that gives you all of these options. If you're a mouse clicker kind of person, you can use these options: zoom, orbit, pan, rewind, center, look, up, down. This glove right here, or this hand, that's your pan tool, so you can click that. Here is your zoom extents, right? And all of the options we talked about, extents, window, previous, dynamic, scale, all that good stuff, it's all there. We're not going to use this for right now because we're not really working in 3D space. And then one other thing I want to show you, if you want to activate a different navigation panel, go up here to View, right? And you can right-click, Show Panels, and there is a Navigate tab. And that pops up right here. So here's pan, orbit, all of your zooms that we talked about, and then you can go back to a previous view or forward to the next view that you've used. That's a really handy tool right there to be able to go back and forth to the different views that you've been cycling through. Pan is also a transparent tool. I think we mentioned that. Very good. All right, view res. Let's talk about view res. So view res is short for view resolution. The higher the resolution, the clearer the image. The lower the resolution, the fuzzier the image, but the quicker the program is going to run. So it's going to ask you a question. Do you want fast zooms? You can say yes or no. I'll say yes. And then circle zoom percentage, you can enter something in. The default value is 1,000. And then that determines your resolution, right? Very good. The definition here that you need is the lower the view res value, the faster the regeneration time, but the more jagged the curves are, right? I'm sure you've all played a low resolution video online and you can see how blurry it is, right? Okay, UCS icon. UCS stands for the User Coordinate System. You've probably seen this and wondered what it was. Right down here in the bottom left-hand corner, there's this Y, X, and it never seems to go away. It's always there. And this is your reference for your Cartesian coordinate plane, right? You probably remember in geometry class, everything's plotted on an X, Y plane. So this just reminds you which way is up and down and which way is left and right. That's your X and your Y. And truth be told, it's actually 3D. You can, I'm about to blow your mind here. There is a Z component. Yeah. Oh, now we're all messed up. There is a Z component here as well that comes in and out of your screen. So now I'm going to use that back function that I talked about just a moment ago. See how handy that is? Okay, that is the UCS icon right here. it's going to appear in the lower left-hand corner, USCS icon. Let's see here. It's not necessary to display this. I like to keep it there just as a reminder, but if it bothers you, you can type UCS icon and you can turn it off, and now it goes away. Or UCS icon and turn it on, and it is there. One of our objectives. Very good. All right, ViewGo. ViewGo is a command that you can use to quickly restore any named view without having to use the view manager, right? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. That's ViewGo. And then QV drawing, quick view drawings. They display preview images of all the drawings currently open in the AutoCAD session. So you can type QV drawing, right? And it will show all of the things you've got open right here. It's a neat little function. You can see all the windows and they kind of cascade. That's quick view drawings. There's also viewports. So viewports. And if you do this, viewports, it's going to open up to a dialog box. A viewport is one of several simultaneous views of a drawing on the screen. The viewports command invokes the viewports dialog box. That's what we're looking at here. So we can, you can change how many views you're looking at. You can say, I want to see 3 views of this thing or 2 views. You could do 4. You can have it looking like the Brady Bunch. Do you guys even know what the Brady Bunch is? You should go type in Brady Bunch on YouTube. You'll be amazed. If the model tab is active and you use the viewports command, you will create model space viewports. Several viewport configurations are available. That's what we're talking about right here. Viewports in this case simply divide the screen into multiple sections, allowing you to view different parts of a drawing simultaneously. It's pretty valuable. So that's viewports. Let's see. Have we missed anything? Zoom all. Oh, I wanted to show you those viewports there. Viewports. Let's go, I don't know. Let's go 3. Ta-da. So here is our working drawing, right? But now I've got 3 views. So maybe here I'm centered on this. Maybe here maybe on this drawing I'm looking at the kitchen sink, and maybe on this one I'm looking at this right here. It's really good for multitasking, right? If you're a multitasker or if you're working on different components. It's still the same file. We're all working on the same file here. We're just looking at different views simultaneously. Now, if this freaks you out, if you're not a multitasker, just go back to viewports, go to single view, and we're right where we were. Zoom all. Very good. I think we've covered all of the objectives. Views, pans, transparent commands, viewports, quick view drawings. Yes, this is all very good. Keep up the good work. If you have questions, send me an email. Happy to help. Thanks for watching.